Yes, it is again, we're a year, really just over a year since the last time we were here when 32 people died. And as far as I know, it may not even be 4, it might be 8, because they were saying that they were searching for another 4 people. They don't appear to have found them. Whether that was because there was a miscounting or there are in fact 8 people who died, we don't know. And of course there are many other people who died who we've not actually heard about. And it's all part of an utterly disgraceful and let's be honest about it, fundamentally racist attack on people who are fleeing really appalling situations. And as I was saying earlier, it's not the case that Britain has lots and lots of asylum seekers. I mean, a lot of people think that it's, that they're coming here and taking our public services, and of course it's not. It's the government that are responsible for that. It's not asylum seekers. And it's important that everywhere we make a stand against all this vile stuff that the government is pushing. I mean, they're saying that they're going to go for safe passages later, but actually what they really mean is not the safe is not safe routes at all. It's about as the Cameron government did, using the UN refugee settlement scheme, where people are picked from refugee camps and brought here, and the government decides how many that will be. That's not what we're talking about. That is not the safe routes we are talking about. We are saying that we need safe routes for people to be able to come here and make their claim. And the whole point, as I said earlier, is that the government wants to stop people making their claims, and so that they do that by not letting them come here, and it's as simple as that. And people die as a consequence, and it's an absolute outrage.
Theresa Murray, I'm the Deputy Leader of the Labour Group on Medway and Folk for Health, and I'm really pleased to see us here tonight. One of the things I want to say, yes, of course, no to Rwanda. It's a ridiculous racist scheme dreamed up by a person with no credibility, Priti Patel, followed by Suella Braverman, both of them from immigrant families, apparently spewing hatred on other immigrant families. I don't understand that at all. It's a disgrace. And it's not fair on the people of Rwanda either. But what I wanted to say is, look, in Medway, people have opened their homes and their hearts to the people of Ukraine under a government scheme. We've had many families settled here now, some of whom are working, some of whom are now moving on to their own properties. And that's because they've been wrapped around with £10,000 each to the council. That's not very much, actually. Help from all of the services, including the DWP and the health service, and they have settled in our community almost unnoticed, actually. And I want to afford that to every refugee, whether they're fleeing war, whether they're fleeing persecution, whatever it turns out to be. A small amount of resource onto this small island where people have been coming here and making a success of their lives for thousands of years and contributing to our community. You never see that in the Sun, do you? You never see the Sun say that we're actually better as a country compared to almost any country at people coming here from many lands making a success of their lives. It's still true. People do want to come here in spite of all of our challenges. And when they want to, with the world on the move, with climate change affecting those with the smallest footprint, the scheme for Ukraine has shown that people can settle and settle quickly into a new community if they've got support with language, support from all of the other services, and a small amount of money to get them started. And actually, I think all of the people who've been helping the Ukrainians settle here in Medway would say the same. It can be done. and we need to think seriously about how we can make that work instead of letting people die in the sea.
What we're going to do now is invite local poet Barry Fentiman Hall to come and recite 2 of his poems. Well, as I said, one written last year, which is incredibly poignant, regarding people fleeing and losing their lives in the Channel, and the second one written specifically this year for the Rwanda issue. Barry.
So here we are again about a year later and nothing changes, does it? This is a little bit out of date, but I think some things remain pertinent. Well, obviously, do. It's called trending. Channel tragedy is trending. They do not name the small boats that fall to the bottom between Dover and Calais too often to count. Forbidden to divers and BBC nature programmers. Raggedy inflatables not built to carry that weight of expectation. Flounder and drift and vanish from sight unmarked. Only when the dead number so high they cannot be denied do the cameras roll. For solemn-faced MPs with the grey sea at their backs, mourning the loss of life, while hinting that there are other considerations, such as the criminal activity of people traffickers, the failures of the French government, and the views of voters in small towns near London. Baron Nurmi Mohammed is trending. The thought of the freezing cold deep of the freezing cold deep of the English Channel is nothing compared to bearing witness to your neighbours dragged from their homes in the black of night. For the boy with a photo in his hand of his mother, killed in a Syrian war, dragged from the shore, it was nothing. Mariam just loved her man and stepped aboard and died. They named her because she was tragic and pretty and then forgotten, and he is left with nothing. Illegal migrants are trending. In Folkestone, they have proud plaques to remind us how they welcomed Belgian refugees in small boats when their country was taken from them. In Hastings, little veterans with short memories gather to block the lifeboats, coming to the aid of people from Africa who have had their country taken from them. They stopped their donations to the RNLI, singing 10 German bombers as they sat incensed in their houses by the sea. Omicron is trending now. The earth has its troubles, and it is easy to forget as the tide ebbs on refugees and mask wars break out in the first world shopping malls, that people we help bomb still love us somehow. It is an uncomfortable truth that a country insisting it is full yet still cannot fill its supermarket shelves has a government that would rather people who might be happy to work here drown during their application. Okay, more recently. A little while ago I was watching the Women's FA Cup final between Chelsea and Arsenal, and I noticed a rather embarrassing thing on the Arsenal sleeves, unfortunately. I mean, it wasn't their fault, but it's not a good look. Anyway, it's called Visit Rwanda. Visit Rwanda is what it says on the sleeve of the Arsenal shirt where the heart is supposed to go. I saw it bright, worn by the long-limbed gazelle women on the TV roaming the green savannas of Boreham Wood. It jarred with the April sunshine and the screams of young girls who want more than anything to be like Beth Mead. The men wear it too at the Emirates, so named for a national airline that is the sporting torturer's carrier of choice. 3 ancestral African boys, lions who are proud to play for England, trying not to hear the dogs that run at the whistle of Suella, finger pushed to her lips like the overdone prefect she is, reminding mere footballers to stay in their lane. I wonder the private thoughts they give to their obligate endorsement for the unwanted black comedy trip of a lifetime. In the land of 1,000 hills to die on, awaiting travellers who come in hope of asylum and find a compound in Kigali. Her Majesty's government are proud to be the official travel partner for the safe and seamless transport into night and fog of people who never dreamt that their uncle in Haringey used his life savings to get them out of Kabul so they could visit Rwanda. That's me. Thank you.
Look, I wish we didn't have to be here. That's the reality of this vigil tonight. We shouldn't be in a situation where people who are fleeing war, fleeing persecution, are ending up losing their lives. That's unimaginable. But we see it time and time and time again. And as we heard from Barry so powerfully, we were here a year ago and we'll probably be here next year. That's the sad reality of where we are in this discussion. I want to take a moment. We're here on some pier and we're in the shadow, if it were sun time rather than night time, of Anchorage House. Now, for those of you who have been here a while, in Medway, Anchorage House is where people paid their tax. Anchorage House is where people went to if they had issues with their family that they needed the legal system to resolve. It's been shut for a number of years. It's an eyesore. It's not fit for purpose. It's a pretty horrible building. It's not gone through the planning process here in Medway. It's being redeveloped using a different process. So no council officer has any idea what's going on in there. We have no agreement with the developer. That is the building that the Home Office has written to the council and said, we think we should use there. What do you think? And actually, I think that's a ridiculous idea. An idea which needs to be shot away at the first possible opportunity, because actually, after everything people have been through, to somehow think that a building of that nature, which is not fit for human habitation at the moment, has already had complaints about it previously, that's not acceptable. And that's happening because the Home Office is fundamentally failing in its basic job. Its basic job is to make sure Britain functions. That's why it exists as a government department. But actually, they've got people seeking refuge waiting more than 500 days to even have the first part of their process completed. Completely unacceptable. And we've got a government who are far more obsessed by PR and spending tens of millions of pounds of our taxpayers' money on a scheme which so far has helped nobody apart from the accountants in Rwanda. So look, we need to keep standing united and say actually Suella Braverman has got no common sense. She's not fit for purpose like the department she's politically responsible for. And already we know she's a bully. Already we know that she should have been sacked, but she was brought back in just a few days later. And so we must send a powerful message from tonight to say we stand in solidarity for those who are in war and conflict, who need support, who need that arm of friendship, that hand of solidarity. And as Teresa quite rightly said, whatever your view on immigration and refuse at the moment, the reality is the numbers will pale into insignificance when you look at the issues we will see because of the climate emergency. We will see millions and millions and millions of people being displaced, far more than we've seen from any war or conflict. And if our starting point from that, as the sixth richest nation in the world, is the drawbridge is up, we are full, no thank you, well, I don't think that's the compassion that I know Medway, I know our country and our community has. And we've seen it in the last 18 months, both with Ukraine and also with so many other situations where the people of Medway stand up and say, we want to make a difference. So look, friends, I'm pleased to be here. I wish we didn't have to be here, but we will continue to be here, and we'll continue to say to the government, refugees are welcome. We'll continue to say to the government, buildings like Anchorage House are not fit for purpose. And we'll say to the government, you must stop the failed Rwanda plan. Thanks for being here. Solidarity.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I really appreciate giving me the opportunity to say a few words. My name's Ajay Hussain. I'm from the mosque in Canterbury Street in Gillingham. Another name for it is Kent Muslim Welfare Association, and we do a lot of work in the community. Now, as a Muslim, but as a human being, we all have a duty to help each other. That's what we're here for. And if we as a community are in danger, and everyone will want to look after themselves and get a better life if you can. If you're under hardship, whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. Whatever the reason, we have a duty to help those people who are seeking a better life. And we have the capacity, we have the resources, we have the country, and there is no such thing as putting these things under the carpet, or Rwanda or some other scheme that is totally not workable. There are ways to solve these immigration, and there are some real concerns, but at the end of the day, as a nation and as a people, we have a duty to help those people, and wherever they're coming from, and we have the capacity. Everyone knows that we are giving people. We look what we've done for Ukraine, what we've done in the past for other communities as well, Afghanistan, and we can do more. and it's just a question of this government realizing that this is not the way forward, Rwanda, and the way forward is to unite and help each other to prosper, make this country a prosperous country. And I stand here in solidarity with yourselves, and I want to appreciate everyone who's come out and really thank you. I mean, first of all, it's my job, and I appeal to everyone to come out and help. I mean, it's a freezing cold night, and if we were forced to jump out for whatever reason, if there was a fire here and we need to go across the shore, and there are people there, you know, they would welcome us, right? Because we're fleeing something, a disaster, and we expect people to help, you know, and to go out in this freezing cold, you know, it takes guts and it takes effort and it takes immense resources as well. So my heart goes out to those people who've lost their lives last year, you know, continue with some people that lost this year. But whether it's 1 or 100 or 50, it doesn't really matter. It's a life, it's a soul, it's a person. So thank you very much for doing this, and I hope to continue in support and solidarity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ajay. Okay, so that wraps up the speeches. I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. And just leave you with a one thought, really. There's only one race in this world, and that's the human race. And we all belong to that race. It doesn't matter what colour our skin is. It doesn't matter what country we're born in, who our parents are. We all go out the same way. And it's just so unfair what's happening at the moment. And I cry for mercy. I cry for mercy for everybody out there struggling at the moment, trying to find their way through life, trying to find a safer haven to live, whilst people around us create war for the sake of profit. So again, thank you all for coming. Seth has brought along 4 flowers, so we could ask 4 people to come forward and just cast them as an offering of peace and love and solidarity with those who passed away this year. Joe, did you want to do one? Don't worry about the banner now.
Can I just also say, my son had a gap year and he was going to Rwanda to do some voluntary service, but actually 2 weeks before that got called in because Rwanda wasn't safe enough for my birth son. Now if it's not safe enough for my birth son, then it's not safe enough for people you know, running away and escaping and surviving trauma. It just is not. It's totally not.
Thanks for that, Joe. Again, thank you everyone for coming this evening. That just about wraps it up. I'd just like to say solidarity with the human race. Bless you all.